How's the preparation been going as y'all getting ready for Seattle team there? It's 9-3.
Yeah, they're playing very well right now. On all levels. I think last week they pitched a shutout versus the Vikings. Just a really good football team who's playing at a high level. Excited to go against them boys for sure.
And what do you see from the Walker and I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sharper.
Sharper, yeah. They're I feel like they don't get as much attention because of the pass game and how well that's going. But they're a key part of what they do for sure. When they're going, you see a lot of explosive plays because they open up the play action game for the guys on the back end. So Walker was at Wake Forest, and then he transferred to Michigan State, so I'm a little familiar with him. He's a dynamic back, like I said, who doesn't get as much credit, I think, right now, but he's one of the best backs in the league for sure.
And how did Minnesota keep Jackson the 2 catches last week, and how big of a, I guess y'all going to have a plan for him too? Yeah,
we definitely got a plan for him. Obviously, he's one of the best receivers in this league right now. Last year it seemed like he's had a crazy jump from this year to last year with just the way they're using him. I think he's lining up in the slot, he's lining up at the X, and they're just throwing the go ball to him. A lot of isolation routes for him and scheming him up to get open. So I thought Minnesota did a good job though of getting hands on him and limiting his explosives. Unlike a lot of other teams, for sure.
Jessie, how you're a good dealer?
Yeah.
Okay. How have you seen James Pierce Jr. kind of evolve? Since the guy that was getting into fights and which maybe wasn't getting into fights in training camp to now.
Yeah, I think he's really starting to figure out, what it takes week in and week out to be productive in this league. He's got a hell of a leader with flow, who's played it at this high level, in this league at a high level for about 10+ years. So I really think he's starting to figure out, the process of what it looks like to go in, week in and week out, and then also figuring out when it's time to, be aggressive on the edge and rush off the edge, or when you got to be a little bit more power. So I think last week he hit a spin move and got a sack. So that was the first. I think he's really starting to get comfortable in, his counter moves and how he can affect the game for sure.
How have you seen the relationship with Pierce and Walker kind of grow with the two of them playing the same position, both, first-round picks? Yeah,
I would say the whole rookie class, honestly. They got a unique bond with each other, with Billy and X even. You see like those two, and then you see James and Jay walk all the time with each other. So, it's like brothers almost. It's like twin brothers that do a really good job of going off the edge and then just continue to help each other with outside of the locker room as well. Being around each other and, just having that, like I said, a brother next to you that you can learn from and learn from his mistakes and stuff like that. So that's big time when you can have that type of relationship with, a teammate, especially the teammate that came in with you as well. So yeah.
They seem like very different people, like at least to the outside. Right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Walk is probably the more laid back and a little bit more chill, but when he's on the field, I feel like they elevate each other. And even off the field, like I said, they help each other out, they balance each other out very well. So James might be a little bit more rowdy. Jay Walk might be a little bit more chill, but I think you need a little bit of both.
Complementary.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you think A.J. Terrell deserves to win the Man of the Year award?
Yeah, A.J., what he's done, I've been here for 3 years now, but, over the time of, just seeing what the city means to him and the amount of events that he does, every single, off day, he's got something going on. He's a busy man, and he takes pride in, wanting to, do for the city of Atlanta, and it just says a lot about the person that AJ is. He always says he was born in New York, but this is what Atlanta raised him, and so he has a lot of love and wants to show support to the youth in the city. So can't say enough about AJ for sure.
I'm kind of looking at it being Pro Bowl time. What is your pitch for someone like Xavier Watts, especially being a rookie?
Yeah, I think if you look at the body of work that he's put out there this year, I think it's one of the best in the league. I think that Pro Bowl voting, it kind of comes with with your winning record as well. You got to be able to be winning, but I think you turn on the tape and watch X play, you'll understand why he's one of the top safeties in this league. And even if it's not this year, I can see X being a Pro Bowl player moving forward for sure.
Are you just impressed by what he has done in his first year in this league?
Yeah, it's not easy to walk in and be able to just make calls and telling AJ Terrell, hey, you need to do this. Like, that's not comfortable at all. And he stepped into that, and that comes from him just being at Notre Dame and being with, Al Golden, who is a DC in the NFL now. Just his IQ is just on a whole nother level, and I think that helps him, not just himself, but helps other people around him play fast as well.
Have you seen him come out of his shell a little bit as the season has progressed?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know about everybody else, but X is like my dog, so he's a little bit more talkative with me rather than others, but he's slowly coming out of that shell, and he's going to be a hell of a leader, I think, in this league for sure.
What's he like then, for those who don't get to see the real?
Yeah, he's he likes music. He likes to do stuff outside the building rather than just be like a football player. I think he's a well-rounded kid for sure, but he's a goofy kid. He's a funny dude, always kind of has some jokes in his pocket for sure. We always joke around, him and JD are like best friends and stuff like that, but he's a great person to be around, and I've been blessed to be able to take him underneath my wing and help him out and figure out his way, not just of how I've done it, but make it his own way, and I think he's doing a hell of a job.
Do you feel like a big brother to him or more like an equal?
Yeah, I would say big brother for sure. He's probably like 5 years younger than me, but it's definitely a big brother feel. I get excited when I see him do something on tape. I'm like, now this is the X I like right here, and that's how you do it, and that's how you're going to stay in this league for a long time. So that relationship has continued to grow for sure, and I look forward to continuing that.
Did he tell you about his love when he was a kid for John Cena?
No, we ain't talked much about WWE, but that doesn't surprise me at all.
Why is that?
X he knows a little bit about everything. Okay. He's well-rounded, and we're both Midwest guys, so we always kind of, brag about us being Midwest guys. Don't need much, just hard-working, blue-collar type of people. So we take pride in that for sure.
Yeah, I'm just going back. I was trying to break this down on deadline at the game. That 15-play drive, y'all had 3/3 in 3rd and 1, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 3, and 3rd and 7, which got a 6, but then they went to the 4th. Got a run on 2, and the 10-yard one, I guess, was the big one to Lazard.
Yeah.
Early in that drive.
Yeah, I think the one to Lazard, I tipped it, and Tyrod wasn't even trying to throw it to him.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of just fell in his lap. So it's kind of been our luck. In those critical moments, you want to be able to close out those games as a defense. But I feel like the football guys were not on our side on that one. When Tyrod is looking to throw the ball all the way to the other side of the field, and we run a pressure, and I tip the ball, and it just goes in Alan Lazard's hand. So that's part of the game, but we definitely want to be better. We always talk about this reload mentality of when they get first downs, reload, forget about what happened, and try to get off the field again. So, yeah, we definitely got to do better than that. I think on that 3rd and 7, Tyrod got out the pocket and they scored a touchdown. So, yeah.
Yeah, he scored on
Yeah.
He picked up the touchdown was after the 4th and 1 run.
3rd and 7, I think, probably.
Yeah, 3rd and 7 was she got to Mitchell for 6, and then 4th and 1 he went up the middle.
Yep.
In the next play,
yeah. So we got to do better, closing out those games for sure.
When it comes to closing out games, it was something y'all were able to do last year on a consistent basis. What do you think is missing this time where if it is close in the 4th, things are just falling short?
Yeah, I was speaking more a little bit about the 2-minute type of drive. This is our first year. This is not an excuse at all, but being in your first year with this type of scheme and, it takes time for you to feel really comfortable in those situations, in the most stressful situations of the game in the 4th quarter. There's no excuse to it, but there's times where we execute perfectly in the 4th quarter, but there's been a couple of times where we haven't closed out games. And, we don't know if that's us being young, us haven't had enough chemistry together, but we continue to talk about that and, that be a conversation when we're out on the field and when we're just practicing about just finishing practice, finishing the day, finishing meetings. I think that's important. And then you kind of translate that to the field of just going and finish. Don't matter how it happens, we got to figure out the way to, win those games and close them out.
Definitely something that's easier said than done.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that for sure.
Thanks, Rob.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank y'all.
How's everybody doing today?
Pretty good, Coach.
Good.
Very well.
I started off going back to last week's game, tough loss in that environment. You start off, you talk about 2 critical plays, the pooch punt that the Jets had. That's an unfortunate situation, and obviously Jamal knows our heels are at the 8-yard line, like what Rod alluded to. And if we back up, we just get away from the ball, especially with the conditions, the precipitation, the wind. Just get out the way, and if they hit a good punt and that ball bounces within the 5-yard line, we tip our hat to them. But our offense has the ball next play. If it goes into the end zone, it's a great decision. So, that issue was addressed on the sideline. Obviously, Agnew knows better than that, and that's a critical mistake by him, and he's been playing for a long time. But my job as a coach is to make sure he's in the present, because that happened towards the beginning of the 2nd quarter, and there's a lot of football left in the game. And then obviously going down into Zane making that clutch 52-yard field goal with the right to left win, being able to put that through the uprights after they missed the field goal. Going into that game, D-led, Mark, just looking at our personnel and dealing with some of the things on our kickoff unit for that week, just with our personnel, the objective was to go out there and hit the ball deep. And we knew that their returners were explosive, and they were a big complementary piece to their offense going in this season. So trying to get them to do that, and then we made a decision to go cover that kick. And we have to be better at doing that because whatever 10 or 11 guys we put out there, they got to be the best version of themselves to go out there and execute that down. So it's unfortunate that happened, and that led to 3 points. So in games like that, because it is a one-play mentality on special teams, on offense and defense, you can have a mess up on 1st down, but you still have 2nd, 3rd, and 4th down to go out there and fix those issues. But when you have something like that on a special teams play, you don't know when you get your next op. And those are things that our guys understand and we'll continue to do a better job of. Yeah, Bradley, he hit the ball well, had 5 inside the 20-yard line, but with those 2 plays overshadowing it, that doesn't really matter. So this week we have a big challenge versus Seattle. They're a talented team all across the board. They have Shaheed, which was a common returner that we've went against before prior with the Saints. Michael Dixon does a good job flipping the field as a punter. Myers has been having a good season as a kicker. And then they have a lot of good coverage players like Brady Russell, number 38. He does a great job covering kicks, being productive as a tackler. And they play a lot of different bodies, whether you talk about skill bodies like the Pritchett, the Nehemiah Pritchett, the gunner / jammer, or you talk about Norris, number 94, a big guy that's almost 300 pounds, playing on all 4 to 5 phases on special teams. So we're excited about this challenge this week, playing at home, and I'll open up to any questions.
Yeah, Coach, on the Agnew play, did he just lose track of where he was?
Yes, a little. He lost track of where he was a little bit, and the ball kind of drifted on him. So our rule is the 8-yard line. Yep, 8-yard line, especially in that when the ball's around the logo, we call it a +50 punt. And with that ball being there, he worked lateral, did a good job of having urgency to work lateral to get. He was still at 8 yards, but then when that ball started to drift back a little bit, when you start to drift D-led, you lose sight to where you're at. When you open up and run, you have a good feel of where you're at on the field of play. But when you start to back up, your focus is on the ball, but you lose focus of your field position. So urgency to the football to make a better decision. He got there laterally, but once he started to back up vertically, and he did a good job giving a call to get everybody away from him on our team, he just has to get out the way. And the most important thing is that our offense has the ball next play. On a play like punt, you don't have to touch the ball for our offense to have the ball next play. So he understands that, and we'll be better from that.
So the violation of the 8-yard rule.
What is that, the violation?
Violation of the 8-yard rule.
I mean, that's what we want to call it. It's a critical error, and we're better than that. And he's better than that.
And on the return, it looked like Williams made a good read. He was going right, or your right, his left, and I guess he saw something up the middle and hit that gap there. Somebody, how did y'all see it? That just looked
Well, we have to do a better job of attacking the blocks. One player got double teamed and kind of got pushed towards our sideline, and then we had a game in the middle of the field between two of our better players, and we just got to make sure that we clear the block. Even when you're getting grabbed or wherever, you got to clear the block so you can put yourself in a position to make a play when it comes to that.
And game, you mean like a stunt?
Yeah, stunt. And then also the kick could be better too. The kick could be more desirable to where we want it. I'm not going to say necessarily where it should have been, but it should have been. It should have been in a better location.
Okay.
But on that play, like this new kickoff play, you could have 10 out of 11 guys do stuff right. And you could get, yeah. And it's a combination of if all 11 guys doing stuff right, and there could be no hole. There's always holes on that play. Does the returner in a position to surface on the other side of that hole? Any kickoff play you watch, I think we've covered 47 kicks or whatever, but you can watch all 47 of them. Out of the 47, we have 5 minuses on those. So you watch any of those kicks, there's always going to be little holes, but where is that hole in correlation to where the returner's at? And it's our job to close the hole as fast as possible. You're doing it with speed, you're doing it with physicality, you're doing it with discipline, you're doing it with leverage, you're doing it with getting off blocks. And then what correlates with that is what kind of kick that you're doing with the coverage. So those two working together.
So some of your tacklers were out, though. Hodge wasn't there, D'Angelo's hurt, and Woods wasn't there, right?
Yeah, but it's next man up mentality. Yes, those guys weren't out there. That is a fact. Those guys weren't out there, but it's the next man up. And we're dressing 48 on that day, and every game the 48 changes. So if the 48's changing on every game, and then there's personnel changing on offense, and there's guys getting opportunities to play more on offense, you take from special teams, but that doesn't matter. Whoever's out there, they got to go out there and execute. So it's always the next man up mentality, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams.
Did you say like, whoa, I need my Pro Bowl guy?
Yeah, but there's things that happen.
What's going on?
Yeah.
I'm like, couldn't you? Like I'm on Hodge, you know he can make the tackles.
Oh yeah, of course. But every guy's journey, Hodge has been a Pro Bowler, and I have the utmost respect for Hodge. But everybody's journey is different throughout their career, throughout their season, and unfortunately, he was down for that game. And it's the next man up when it comes to what we're doing as a team. So if guys get opportunity, like the Dylan Drummonds who played on punt return in his position, they get the opportunity to go out there and put their best foot forward. Just unfortunately, on that play, we didn't get that done.
How frustrating is that, when it's a game that is right there for y'all, and you can kind of tie 10 points for them directly to special teams play?
That is frustrating because my job as a coach is to always try to help our team in the best way to win games, whatever the case may be. Just so I'm doing it on special teams, but I coach the entire team all the way to the backup quarterback being a holder, to our backup tackle being our backup snapper. All those guys, I coach all of them. And it's frustrating because you look at those 2 plays, we don't get a second chance on those type plays, not a second down. And those are critical errors. And Mark, our guys are not trying to make those critical errors. Nobody's trying to do that, right? And that is frustrating. And it's frustrating. There's games that we've won that I've been frustrated with. I could be frustrated with one play. Last year we blocked 3 kicks in one game, and I was still frustrated about a couple of plays in that game. And that just comes with the territory of in this profession and coaching this game. And the good thing is we have this week to go out there and do what we can to help our team win. And our guys know that individually. They know that collectively. If you're talking about a punt phase, field goal block, those guys all understand that. And they're looking to put their best foot forward when it comes to showing up today for practice, showing up tomorrow for practice, for walkthrough, for meetings, and then showing up at Mercedes-Benz on Sunday to go play the Seahawks.
Although obviously you don't want him to miss a kick, was it a relief given the issues this season that Zane was able to bounce back from a miss and make even a longer one after the fact?
You play in situations. Kicking a 50-yard field goal in those conditions is not necessarily ideal, but we trust him, and he's been clutch for us. And that's the reason why he's here in the building, because he's kicked in clutch situations. He joined Washington during the playoff run. He kicked in the playoffs for them, hit a game winner in the playoffs for those guys. So, yes, we want him to make that field goal. Had a clean operation. He's playing a right to left win, and the win kind of didn't take the ball to the left a little bit. But he showed up on the next. They missed the field goal after that, so it becomes a wash when they miss that field goal. And then we drive down, we kick the field goal a little bit longer on a opposite hash, which is not the most desirable hash for him, and he pipes it. So that's clutch, and I expect that from him. I don't expect anything else from him as a person, as an individual, because he's been in those moments. I'm excited for him. He's doing a great job for us, and he continues to get better, and it's a blessing to be a part of his career.
Raheem has mentioned Mike Ford kind of stepping up twice this week. What is he like as a leader in the special teams room?
He's vocal. He has great passion. He leads by example. He works hard. I've seen him grow since 2019 when I first was with him in Detroit. And it's cool to see how much the work that he's put into the game as a person and how good of a person he is off the field. And it's no surprise that he's having the season that he's having. And I'm excited for him because he hasn't even played his best game yet. And he's a multiplier. He's helping other guys around him. He's taking Kobe Bryant underneath his wing to help him become a better player. It's cool to have a complementary piece with him and Hodge as gunners out there. And it's cool because of that, because of those guys working together. They're one of the top punt cover units in the league when it comes to them covering kicks. And I don't expect anything else from Mike, and he continues to surprise me each and every day by the way he works. And there's no surprise that he's one of those candidates for the Pro Bowl. So I'm excited for him to go out there this week and put together a dominant performance again.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right.
No, that's it.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.